Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at activity-based costing in Excel. As always, before we get started, I'd like to point out that these orange cells are key inputs. That's information that the problem has given you. And the blue cells are going to be our answers. It's important to label both of those so you know what you're starting with and, more importantly, what question you're answering, because there can be intermittent questions that you need to answer before you get to the final question. So let's get started. The Cow Corporation has two departments, orange and purple. Common costs could be allocated to the two departments in various ways. Both the departments use up square footage, they have a certain number of employees, and they each have sales. So, let's take a look at question number 1 here. If the total marketing expenses of $480,000 were allocated to each department on the basis of sales, what is the cost allocation rate? So this question here is asking us to allocate this $480,000 using some sort of measurement. In this case, it's going to be on the basis of sales. So let's put those in. Orange department has $400,000 worth of sales. Purple department has $2 million worth of sales. We got that from the problem. What's the total of those two? Total sales across the two departments is $2.4 million. We're going to take the total marketing expenses that was given to us of $480,000, and we're going to divide that by the total sales. And then we get a cost allocation rate of 20 cents per sales dollar. Remember, a cost allocation rate is always a cost per something, and it can be a cost per cost. It can be cost allocation rate of 20 cents per sales dollar. In the next couple problems, you'll see that it's not always per sales dollar. It can be something else as well. But in this case, our answer is going to be 20 cents per sales dollar. Question number 2. Using your answer from number 1, what is the amount of marketing costs that would be allocated to each department? So if we're going to allocate on the basis of sales, or sales dollars here, we're going to use those sales for each department to make that decision. So we have $400,000 in the orange department, $2 million in the purple department, and we're going to multiply each of those by the allocation rate of 20 cents to get our answer, which is going to be $80,000 here and $400,000. $80,000 of the total marketing expenses are going to be allocated to the orange department, and $400,000 are going to be allocated to the purple department. So that's it. Questions number 1 and 2 here allocate on the basis of sales, this line item right here. Let's move on to allocating on, say, the number of employees. All right, let's look at the same type of question for employee training costs. So question number 1 here, if total employee training costs of $64,000 were allocated to each department on the basis of the number of employees, these numbers right here, what is the cost allocation rate? So we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to take the number of employees in each department and add them together to get a total number of employees of 1,600 for the entire company. The total training cost that we're given in the problem is $64,000. So we get a cost allocation rate of $40. Employee training costs are going to be roughly $40 per employee. Now, question number 2, again, using your answer from number 1, what is the amount of employee training costs that would be allocated to each department? So we'll just take the number of employees that we had from before and multiply it by the allocation rate. In this case, it's going to be that $40 that we set out before. And we're going to have $46,000 and $18,000 as the cost allocated to each department. See that the orange department has more employees, they will incur more of these costs. And the total cost is going to be the $64,000. Now we got the last part, which is going to rely on the square footage. All right, last one here. we're going to be allocating total property taxes using square footage. So question number 1 here says, total property taxes of $180,000 were allocated to each department on the basis of square footage. What is the cost allocation rate? We're going to do the same thing we've done in the previous problems. We're going to take the total square footage here, 7,000 from the orange department, 20,000 from the purple department, and get us a total of 27,000 square feet that we're going to be allocating with. The total property tax cost of $180,000 is given in the problem, and we're going to allocate it over that 27,000 square feet, giving us a cost allocation rate of $6.67. It's important to remember that if you're doing this for a test or for specific online homework, you may be asked to round this number. If I'm doing it in Excel now without any rounding, this is actually a much larger number, or a much more detailed number, I should say. But always follow the instructions on your homework or your assignment. But let's move on to question number 2. Using your answer from question number 1, what amount of costs are going to be allocated to each department? Same as the other problems, we're going to take the square footage, which is what we're allocating, or what we're using to allocate the costs, use the allocation rate, multiply the two together, and we get $46,667 for the orange department, $133,333 for the purple department. It's important to remember that these two, in the context of this problem, are always going to add up to $180,000, the total amount of costs that we are allocating here. Depending on the words, sometimes it will add up to the total that you're being allocated, sometimes it won't. In this case, because it does, if we rounded this $6.67, then these numbers might be different, but the total of $180,000 would still be the same. So there you have it, 3 different examples of activity-based costing. Good luck in your future studies on this one. If you have any more questions, feel free to check out another video. Good luck!